Act as if you are the best, not someday, not after proof, not after approval. Now, because the world does not reward hidden potential, it bows to visible certainty. The moment you hesitate, the moment you look sideways to measure yourself against others, you shrink. And shrinking is a habit. Confidence is also a habit. Choose wisely. Your mind is always listening. Every thought you allow, every word you repeat, every image you hold, it is all programming. When you act like you are second, your mind accepts second place as truth. When you act like you are unstoppable, your mind begins searching for ways to prove it. This is not motivation. This is mental law. No one is better than you unless you give them that position. Talent does not decide dominance. Background does not decide dominance. Luck does not decide dominance. Decision does. The decision to stand firm, to move without permission, to speak with certainty even when your hands shake. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it. Stay focused, ruthlessly focused. Distractions are designed to drain your power. Opinions, noise, comparison, comfort, all traps. While others scroll, you build. While others doubt, you decide. While others wait for confidence, you act as if it already belongs to you. And eventually it does. Do not explain yourself. Do not seek validation. The moment you need approval, you hand your authority away. The strongest people in history were misunderstood, doubted, and often mocked, until results forced silence. Let your results speak with a voice so loud that excuses cannot survive. Your subconscious does not know the difference between pretending and becoming. Act powerful long enough and power becomes permanent. Walk like you belong at the top and your mind will find the steps. Think like a leader and discipline will follow. Behave like success is inevitable and persistence will become automatic. This is not about ego. This is about identity. You rise to the level of who you believe you are, not what you wish for. Decide who you are. Decide that quitting is not an option. Decide that your focus is sacred. Decide that you are done living small. Act as if you are the best, because the world never hands greatness to the hesitant. It submits to those who move with certainty, think with clarity, and refuse to bow to doubt. Now lock in. Stay focused, move forward, and never ask again if you are enough. Self-belief is not arrogance, it is a strategic weapon, because the moment you truly believe in yourself, the entire game shifts in your favor. Arrogance is loud and insecure, it needs attention and validation, but self-belief is silent, dangerous, and focused. It does not beg the world to notice it. It moves, it builds, it conquers. When you carry real belief inside you, you stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for the right moment. You understand that hesitation is weakness and clarity is power. The world does not reward those who feel sorry for themselves. It rewards those who decide. Decision is everything. When you decide who you are, your mind aligns, your actions sharpen, and your focus becomes ruthless. Most people live their entire lives confused, doubting themselves, comparing their progress to others, and then wondering why nothing changes. Weak thoughts create weak actions. Strong thoughts create unstoppable momentum. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to blend in, to wait your turn, or to ask for approval. The only thing that ever stopped you was the story you kept telling yourself about your limits. And limits are learned. Fear is learned. Doubt is learned. Which means belief can be learned too, but only if you are willing to train your mind with discipline instead of excuses. Act as if you are the best, not because you want to feel superior, but because your mind needs a clear identity to operate at its highest level. The subconscious does not respond to hope. It responds to certainty. When you act uncertain, it gives you reasons to fail. When you act with conviction, it finds solutions you never saw before. This is how leaders are built. This is how winners are separated from the crowd. Focus is your greatest asset. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Every distraction weakens you. Every unnecessary opinion drains you. Every comparison poisons your confidence. While others are busy watching, talking, scrolling, and doubting, you must be locked in, silent, consistent, relentless. Progress loves privacy. Do not wait until you feel ready. Readiness is a lie comfort tells you to keep you stuck. You grow by stepping into pressure, not by avoiding it. The strongest minds were forged in discomfort. Pressure reveals who you really are. And if you stay long enough under pressure without breaking, you become unbreakable. Stop explaining your vision to people who cannot see it. Stop shrinking your goals to make others comfortable. Your ambition does not need approval. It needs commitment. If they doubt you, let them. Doubt is cheap. Results are expensive. Pay the price in discipline, focus, and persistence, and collect the reward in silence. You must understand this deeply. No one is better than you unless you decide they are. Skills can be learned, knowledge can be acquired, discipline can be built. The only thing that cannot be fixed is a weak mindset that refuses to change. Decide today that you will no longer negotiate with doubt. Decide that quitting is not part of your identity. Decide that you will move forward even when motivation disappears. Confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you practice. Every time you show up when it is hard, you strengthen it. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you build it. Every time you push through resistance, you sharpen it. This is how self-belief becomes unshakable. Act as if failure is impossible, not because it never happens, but because you refuse to let it define you. Failure is feedback. Weak people stop, strong people adjust and continue. Persistence is the real separator. Talent opens doors, but persistence kicks them down. Stay disciplined when no one is watching. Stay focused when progress feels slow. Stay aggressive with your goals and ruthless with your excuses. The version of you that you want to become is watching your choices right now. Do not disappoint that future version. Self-belief is your weapon. Focus is your armor. Action is your proof. Move like you belong at the top, and the world will eventually make space for you. Acting confident trains the subconscious to accept dominance as normal because the mind does not wait for permission from reality. It responds to behavior first and evidence later. When you move with certainty, even before results exist, your subconscious begins to rewrite its internal rules. It stops preparing you for survival and starts preparing you for control. Confidence is not a feeling you discover one day. It is a pattern you repeat until your mind accepts it as identity. Most people wait to feel confident before they act, and that is why they stay average. The subconscious does not reward waiting, it rewards movement. When you stand tall, speak clearly, and act decisively, your mind interprets that as proof of strength. Over time, hesitation feels unnatural, and authority feels familiar. This is how dominance is built internally before it ever shows externally. Your body language, your tone, your pace, your decisions, all of it is communication to your subconscious. Slouching tells it you are unsure. Silence at the wrong moment tells it you are weak. Avoidance tells it you are afraid. But when you hold eye contact, move with purpose, and commit without apology, your mind takes notes. It learns that this is how you operate. It learns that retreat is not your default. Confidence is not about being loud. It is about being grounded. Calm certainty is far more rouse than noisy bravado. When you do not rush, when you do not over-explain, when you do not seek approval, you signal power. Your subconscious absorbs this and begins aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions around leadership rather than fear. Act first, and belief will follow. The subconscious trusts experience more than logic. You can read every book, listen to every speech, and repeat every affirmation, but if your actions stay small, your mind will stay small. Action is the language the subconscious understands. Bold action rewires identity. The reason most people collapse under pressure is because their subconscious is trained for comfort, not command. The moment resistance appears, their old programming activates: retreat, doubt, delay. But when you consistently act confident under pressure, pressure becomes familiar. Chaos stops feeling threatening. Decision-making becomes sharper. You stop reacting and start directing. Stop asking yourself if you are ready. Readiness is irrelevant. Confidence grows from commitment, not comfort. Every time you step into something that scares you and do not back down, your subconscious records a win. Those wins stack. Over time, fear loses its authority over you. Your environment will test you. People will challenge you. Situations will push back. This is not punishment. It is confirmation that you are expanding. Stay firm. The subconscious watches how you respond when things do not go your way. If you fold, it learns weakness. If you stand, adjust, and continue, it learns resilience. Resilience becomes dominance when repeated long enough. Do not confuse confidence with perfection. You do not need to have all the answers. You need the courage to decide and move. Leaders are not the smartest in the room. They are the most certain. Certainty creates momentum, and momentum silences doubt. Control your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself in private shapes how you move in public. Weak inner language creates hesitation. Strong inner language creates authority. Speak to yourself like someone you trust. Command your mind instead of negotiating with it. Acting confident also means accepting responsibility. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting for rescue. The subconscious respects responsibility. When you own outcomes, even failures, your mind upgrades you. It sees you as someone capable of carrying weight. Weight builds strength. Stay focused. Distraction fractures confidence. The more scattered you are, the weaker you feel. Narrow your targets. Eliminate noise. Obsession with the goal sharpens your edge. When your focus is clear, your confidence becomes stable. Eventually, dominance stops being something you try to project. It becomes who you are. You walk into rooms and your presence speaks before you do, not because you demand attention, but because certainty has become natural. You trained your subconscious to expect leadership from you. Act confident long enough and it stops being an act. It becomes your standard. The mind follows identity faster than effort, because effort without a clear sense of who you are is unstable and temporary, while identity creates automatic behavior. When you decide who you are, your mind reorganizes itself around that decision. It stops asking for motivation and starts demanding consistency. This is why some people can work hard for months and still fall back into old habits, while others move forward with relentless momentum. They are not forcing effort, they are obeying identity. Most people try to change their lives by changing what they do, but they never change who they believe they are. That is the core mistake. You can push yourself for a short time, but the mind always returns to what feels familiar. If your identity is small, your mind will sabotage progress to protect that identity. If your identity is strong, your mind will search for ways to rise to match it. The moment you label yourself with weakness, struggle becomes no. Armal. The moment you label yourself with strength, discipline becomes natural. Identity is the blueprint. Effort is just construction. Without a strong blueprint, effort collapses under pressure. With a strong identity, effort feels inevitable. Stop waiting for proof before you upgrade your identity. Proof comes after belief, not before it. The mind needs a target version of you to move toward. When you act like someone who finishes what they start, your mind looks for ways to support completion. When you act like someone who does not quit, quitting starts to feel unnatural. Identity removes internal debate. This is why affirmations fail for most people. They say words but live opposite behaviors. The mind does not listen to words, it listens to patterns. Repeated action creates identity faster than repeated thinking. Decide who you are, then behave like it even when it feels uncomfortable. Discomfort is just the old identity fighting for survival. Your habits are not random. They are evidence of who you think you are. If you believe you are disciplined, you will act disciplined even when tired. If you believe you are weak, you will find reasons to stop. The mind protects identity at all costs. Use that law to your advantage. Do not ask yourself, what should I do today? Ask yourself, who do I refuse to stop being? When identity is clear, decisions become simple. There is no negotiation. A leader does not negotiate with laziness. A focused person does not negotiate with distraction. Identity sets non-negotiables. You cannot outperform your self-image for long. If success feels unfamiliar, the mind will unconsciously sabotage it to return to comfort. This is why people self-destruct right before breakthroughs. The identity has not caught up to the results. Upgrade identity first, and success becomes sustainable. Your environment reinforces identity. Change how you move, how you speak, how you hold yourself. These are not cosmetic changes. They are signals to the subconscious. When you behave like someone who belongs at the top, your mind begins aligning thoughts and actions with leadership. Confidence follows behavior, not the other way around. Stop saying you are trying. Trying signals uncertainty. Say you are becoming and then prove it with action. Identity thrives on evidence. Every time you show up when it is hard, you strengthen the image your mind has of you. Over time, effort disappears and consistency remains. Discipline feels heavy only when it conflicts with identity. Once discipline becomes part of who you are, it feels normal. This is why the most powerful people do not rely on motivation. They rely on self-image. Motivation fades. Identity remains. Choose your identity carefully. Once chosen, defend it aggressively. Do not allow doubt, distraction, or other people's opinions to rewrite it. The world will test you the moment you decide to change. Stand firm. The mind watches how serious you are. Eventually, effort becomes automatic. You do not wake up forcing yourself anymore. You wake up aligned. Your mind moves you forward because moving forward is who you are. That is the real power. The mind follows identity faster than effort. Decide who you are and let the mind do the rest. Hesitation is the silent killer of potential because it does not attack loudly or all at once. It drains you slowly while convincing you that waiting is wise. It whispers that tomorrow will be safer, that more information is needed, that the timing is not right yet. And while you pause, opportunity moves on without you. Potential does not die from failure, it dies from delay. Most people are not defeated by lack of ability, they are defeated by indecision. They think too long, analyze too much, and question themselves into paralysis. The mind, when left without command, defaults to fear. Fear dresses itself as logic, calling hesitation being careful or being realistic, but in truth it is avoidance. Avoidance feels company. Comfortable and comfort is the enemy of growth. Every moment you hesitate, you train your mind to doubt itself. You teach it that action is dangerous and retreat is safe. Over time, this becomes a pattern. You start second-guessing every decision, every move, every instinct. Confidence erodes quietly, without warning, until one day you realize you no longer trust yourself. That is the real damage hesitation causes. Action, even imperfect action, creates clarity. Waiting never does. You do not find confidence by thinking about moving, you find it by moving. The moment you act, fear loses some of its power. The moment you commit, your mind shifts from imagining worst-case scenarios to solving real problems. Movement turns anxiety into focus, hesitation steals momentum, and momentum is everything. When you move quickly and decisively, you build energy. That energy carries you forward even when motivation fades. But when you stop and hesitate, momentum dies and restarting becomes harder each time. This is why small delays turn into permanent stagnation. The world rewards decisiveness. People follow those who decide, not those who doubt. Opportunities flow toward those who act, not those who wait to feel ready. Readiness is a myth created by fear to keep you safe and small. Growth requires risk, and risk demands action. Your instincts are sharper than you think. Overthinking dulls them. The first impulse, when aligned with purpose, is often the right one. The longer you wait, the more noise enters your mind. Opinions, doubts, imagined consequences. By the time you finally decide, the moment has passed or the opportunity is weakened. Stop negotiating with fear. Fear will never tell you to move forward. Its job is to protect, not to progress. You must override it with decision. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the refusal to obey it. The strongest people feel fear and move anyway. Hesitation also feeds regret. Action may lead to failure, but hesitation leads to wondering. Wondering is heavier. It lingers. It follows you into the future and asks, what if? Failure teaches and passes. Regret stays and rots. Choose your pain wisely. Train yourself to decide faster. Speed is a skill. The more you practice decisive action, the easier it becomes. Start small. Make choices and stand by them. Even if the outcome is not perfect, you build trust with yourself. Self-trust is the foundation of confidence. The mind respects commitment. When you decide and move, your mind aligns to support you. It finds solutions, builds resilience, and sharpens focus. When you hesitate, the mind stays scattered and weak. Direction gives the mind strength. Time does not wait for clarity. Life moves whether you decide or not. Those who act shape events. Those who hesitate react to them. Power belongs to the proactive, not the cautious. You are not lacking potential. You are delaying its expression. Every day you hesitate, potential decays, skills rust, opportunities expire, energy fades. But the moment you decide, everything wakes up again. Hesitation is silent, but its cost is loud in the long run. Decide, move, adjust. That is how potential survives and becomes power. The world responds to certainty, not excuses, because certainty signals power, focus, and authority, while excuses whisper weakness, hesitation, and vulnerability. People are not impressed by intentions, apologies, or explanations. They are impressed by action that is unwavering, decisions that are deliberate, and a presence that refuses compromise. When you act with certainty, the universe bends to accommodate you. When you hesitate, the world moves around you, indifferent to your reasoning. Excuses do not earn respect. Certainty commands it. Most people spend their lives explaining why they cannot, why the timing is off, or why circumstances are unfair. They rationalize in a million ways to justify inaction, hoping the world will understand their struggles. It never does. Life does not negotiate with hesitation, and opportunity does not wait for your readiness. Certainty cuts through all of that. It does not ask for permission. It does not need validation. It moves forward, and the world is forced to react. Certainty is a reflection of your inner conviction. It begins in the mind and radiates outward in every choice, every word, and every action. When you speak with certainty, people listen. When you act with certainty, people follow. When you decide with certainty, obstacles become temporary, and resistance becomes fuel. Excuses, no matter how logical, dissolve under the light of unwavering commitment. Confidence alone is not enough. Confidence can be faked, but certainty cannot. Certainty is the alignment of thought, belief, and action. It is the knowledge that you will follow through no matter what, that you will persist even when the world resists, and that you refuse to be shaken by opinion or circumstance. People instinctively recognize certainty. They sense it in posture, in tone, in the decisiveness of action. They do not need to hear your reasons. They feel your power. Excuses are contagious. They invite doubt, fear, and hesitation. When you explain why something cannot be done, you not only weaken yourself, but signal weakness to others. Certainty, on the other hand, is infectious. It inspires action, loyalty, and momentum. The more certain you are, the more the world adjusts to meet your direction. History is built by those who acted with absolute conviction, while the majority hesitated, debated, and explained away their dreams. Do not confuse explanation with leadership. Leaders do not justify themselves. They act. They take responsibility for outcomes, and they do not shrink from accountability. The world is indifferent to excuses. Excuses cannot create results. Certainty can move mountains. It is the magnet for opportunity and the shield against doubt. Every second you spend explaining or rationalizing is a second wasted that could have been invested in execution. The world rewards those who decide, move, and persist. Hesitation gives power to the opportunist. Excuses give power to circumstance. Certainty claims the space you deserve and forces resistance to yield. Your internal dialogue shapes how the world perceives you. When you catch yourself making excuses, recognize it as a sabotage of your own influence. Shift from, "I wish I could," or "I hope it works out," to, "I will make it happen and I will get it done." This shift is not subtle. It transforms how your mind prepares for action and how others perceive your authority. The world does not respond to hesitation or reasoning. It responds to those who operate with unshakable conviction. Certainty is cultivated through action, repetition, and relentless commitment. It is not something you wait for. It is something you practice. Make decisions quickly and enforce them consistently. Stand firm even when outcomes are uncertain. Speak with clarity and act with focus. Every time you choose certainty over explanation, You reinforce the identity of someone who is unstoppable, unshakable, and uncompromising. Excuses are a product of fear, doubt, and comfort. Certainty is a product of discipline, vision, and courage. Fear seeks to delay, doubt seeks to question, comfort seeks to distract. Certainty ignores all of it. It moves forward regardless of obstacles, resistance, or opinion. To the world, certainty is proof of competence. Excuses are proof of weakness. Opportunities do not wait for explanations. Doors open to those who push forward, not those who justify why they cannot. Influence belongs to the decisive, not the deliberative. Success favors action, not reasoning. If you desire to dominate your field, to rise faster, to achieve more, you must embrace certainty as your standard and silence excuses permanently. Remember this: people do not follow your excuses, they follow your confidence, your vision, and your ability to move without doubt. Certainty creates momentum that cannot be stopped. Excuses create stagnation that cannot be ignored. Your life, career, and legacy are determined not by how well you explain yourself, but by how firmly you act. The world responds to certainty, not excuses. Speak with authority, act with decisiveness, and move as though the outcome is inevitable. Every hesitation, every rationalization, every apology for why you are not ready is a theft of your own power. Stop giving away authority to doubt. Step into the room with unwavering certainty and watch how the world bends, adjusts, and ultimately submits. Certainty is not arrogance. It is strategic dominance. It is the difference between those who wait and those who win. Act with it. Live by it. Become it. Focus is power. Distraction is surrender. Because every moment you allow your mind to wander, every second you indulge in noise, you are giving away energy that could have built empires. Focus is the quiet, relentless force that turns vision into reality. It sharpens thought, magnifies effort, and aligns your entire being toward the goal that others only dream of. Distraction, on the other hand, is invisible defeat. It feels harmless, even pleasurable, but every time you scroll, worry, or entertain excuses, you weaken your grip on your own destiny. The world thrives on chaos, noise, and interference. It wants you distracted. It wants your attention stolen by opinions, fear, and trivial matters. Every message, every alert, every unnecessary conversation is designed to fragment your power. To focus is to resist this assault, to create a mental fortress where only what matters can enter. When you focus, you reclaim authority over your own life. When you let distraction in, you are already losing without a fight. Focus is not about working harder, it is about working deliberately. It is about channeling energy so efficiently that small actions produce disproportionate results. Distraction spreads your energy thin, making you busy but ineffective. The most successful people in history did not work longer hours than everyone else. They worked with ruthless concentration, eliminating everything that did not directly serve their purpose. Every time you indulge distraction, you train your mind to tolerate mediocrity. Each time you switch attention from the task that moves you forward to something trivial, you reinforce weakness. Your mind begins to expect interruptions, to accept them as normal. Gradually, ambition becomes background noise, and potential slips quietly into irrelevance. Surrender is not always loud. It is subtle, seductive, and persistent. Focus is a muscle that grows stronger the more you challenge it. Start by eliminating what does not matter. Stop scrolling endlessly. Stop wasting hours chasing opinions that do not serve your mission. Stop responding to every call for attention. Discipline your mind to hold one thought, one task, one goal at a time until it is completed. The power generated from undivided attention is exponential. Distraction is the enemy disguised as entertainment, comfort, or necessity. Every choice to give in is a vote for weakness. Every choice to reclaim focus is a vote for dominance. Your life is a reflection of where your mind spends its energy. If your attention drifts to trivialities, your results will mirror that. If your attention is fixed on what builds, creates, and transforms, your results will reflect unstoppable momentum. Focus is not optional, it is survival. The moment you allow your mind to scatter, the moment you let excuses and noise control your choices, you are handing over your power. Success is not something that drifts into your lap. It is the product of concentrated effort over time, applied without hesitation, without diversion, without compromise. The strongest minds know that focus requires sacrifice. Every distraction you reject strengthens your discipline. Every hour you reclaim builds a compounding advantage that others cannot touch. While the world is busy dividing attention among hundreds of trivial tasks, those who master focus move with unstoppable clarity and velocity. They achieve in months what others labor over for years. Your inner dialogue determines where your attention flows. Fear and doubt are master distractors. They whisper reasons to quit, reasons to delay, reasons to divide your mind. You must silence them. Replace chaos with deliberate thought, noise with purpose, indecision with clarity. Train your mind to refuse anything that does not serve your ultimate goal. This is how power is built silently, invisibly, unrelentingly. Focus is also a shield. When your attention is sharp, distractions bounce off you. Noise loses its grip. Opinions fade into irrelevance. Pressure becomes manageable because your mind is aligned with purpose. Distraction, however, opens the door to chaos. When you let your mind wander, the world does not wait for you. Opportunity passes, momentum slows, and doubt takes root. The irony is that focus requires freedom from external approval. While the masses chase likes, notifications, and validation, your attention must remain sovereign. The power of focus is the power of self-control. Nothing external can dictate your direction unless you allow it. Every interruption ignored is a victory. Every task completed without deviation is a confirmation of mastery. Focus creates exponential results. When you concentrate your energy on what matters, small efforts compound into massive outcomes. Distraction divides that energy, dilutes it, and ensures that your potential never fully manifests. Most people never experience the true force of their own ability because they surrender it daily to noise, excuses, and temptation. Understand this: distraction is the choice of the weak. Focus is the claim of the strong. It is the difference between those who achieve and those who stagnate. Those who dominate life do not multitask. They monotask with relentless precision. They do not entertain every thought or impulse. They command their mind like a weapon. Your results are a reflection of your attention. Where focus flows, energy multiplies. Where distraction creeps in, power evaporates. Discipline yourself to the task that propels you forward, to the mission that matters, to the vision that defines your life. Guard your mind, your time, and your energy like a fortress. Focus is power. Distraction is surrender. Choose to dominate your mind, and the world will have no choice but to bend. Comparison weakens vision and fractures purpose, because the moment you measure yourself against someone else, you surrender control over your own life. Your energy, which should be building, creating, and moving you forward, is instead diverted to judgment, envy, and doubt. Comparison is a thief disguised as insight. It convinces you that someone else's timeline, skills, or results define your worth. Disguised as effort. You may appear busy, but true progress, the kind that changes your life, never comes from imitation. Every time you compare, your mind loses clarity. You ask questions that have no answers. Why am I not like them? Why don't I have what they have? Am I failing? These are not questions seeking growth. They are chains holding your potential hostage. Energy that should be applied to improving your skills, executing your plans, and mastering your craft is instead wasted on judgment and self-doubt. Comparison steals focus, and without focus, no purpose can survive. The danger of comparison is silent but devastating. It is not always obvious. You might work hard, achieve some progress, yet still feel inadequate because someone else seems faster, smarter, or luckier. You see their success as a benchmark rather than inspiration. You measure yourself in their shadows instead of stepping fully into your own light. The result is anxiety, distraction, and hesitation, all killers of momentum. Your path is unique, and success cannot be universal. What works for one person may never work for you. Their strengths may highlight your weaknesses, but they do not define your potential. The only measure that matters is whether you are better today than you were yesterday, whether your actions align with your vision, and whether your purpose drives your decisions consistently. Focus on that, and the world bends to your momentum. Comparison also invites fear, and fear fractures purpose. When you look at others, you start imagining the obstacles you might face, the failures you might encounter, and the criticism you might receive. You become tentative. Hesitation creeps in. Every day you second-guess your plans, you weaken your identity. When fear infiltrates your thinking, your purpose loses cohesion. It becomes a vague aspiration rather than a sharp, unstoppable drive. The antidote to comparison is clarity of identity and commitment to your own path. Define who you are, what you want, and why you want it. Build routines and habits that align with that purpose, not someone else's. Measure progress by your own standards. When you operate from this position, comparison loses its power. Other people's success becomes data, not judgment. Their achievements become inspiration, not a mirror for doubt. Comparison also breeds resentment and self-pity. When you focus on what others have, you undervalue what you possess. You forget the unique combination of skills, experiences, and resilience that only you bring. Your purpose is not dependent on anyone else. It is crafted by your decisions, refined by your discipline, and sustained by your relentless action. Every thought spent envying someone else is a thought wasted on mastering your own strengths. Break the habit by committing to relentless self-focus. Track your progress internally. Celebrate small wins. Push harder than yesterday. Every time you catch yourself comparing, redirect that energy into creating, executing, and learning. Focus on control, not observation. The more you invest in your own growth, the less power comparison has over you. Ultimately, comparison is a mental surrender. Purpose is a declaration of war. If you allow yourself to be distracted by what others are doing, you fracture your mission, slow your momentum, and dilute your energy. But if you commit fully to your own vision, block out the noise, and measure only your own improvement, your trajectory becomes unstoppable. Comparison no longer dictates your emotions. Action defines your results. Comparison weakens vision and fractures purpose. Ignore the noise, reclaim your focus, and let your life be measured only by the results you create, the growth you achieve, and the mission you refuse to abandon. Decision creates momentum. Waiting creates decay, because the moment you choose, the universe begins to respond. A decision is not just a thought. It is energy set into motion, a signal to your mind and the world that you refuse to remain idle. Every hesitation, every delay, every "I'll do it tomorrow" strengthens the habit of inactivity. Waiting feels safe, but safety is a slow poison. Momentum, on the other hand, is the force that turns potential into reality. Once you decide, action accelerates, opportunities align, and the path forward becomes visible where once there was only uncertainty. Most people think they are being careful when they wait. They analyze, research, and seek reassurance, believing that hesitation is wisdom. But what they fail to realize is that while they wait, life does not wait. Days, weeks, and months pass. Opportunities that would have responded to action slip away, replaced by new challenges, new competitors, and new obstacles. Waiting breeds decay because it trains the mind to defer responsibility, to doubt instinct, and to fear commitment. Every postponed choice erodes confidence, making the next decision harder. Decision, however, is a declaration of power. The moment you decide, the mind moves from uncertainty to certainty. Energy that was trapped in fear and doubt is released into focused action. Obstacles are no longer intimidating because your identity aligns with your choice. The world perceives decisiveness as strength and responds accordingly. Momentum compounds. One choice leads to another. One action triggers results. The machine of progress begins to turn, and you find yourself moving faster than you ever imagined possible. Waiting is the slow death of dreams. People think that waiting for the perfect moment protects them from failure, but it actually guarantees stagnation. Momentum cannot exist in a vacuum. It must be generated by movement. Every day you delay, the mind grows accustomed to hesitation, and the habit of waiting becomes normal. Motivation fades, courage diminishes, and opportunities are stolen by those who act decisively. The world rewards those who choose, not those who linger. Decision is not risk-free, but waiting is fatal. Risk creates progress, inaction creates regret. Momentum, once built, carries you forward even when conditions are uncertain. It turns small victories into major achievements because the energy of movement attracts results. Waiting, conversely, attracts doubt, fear, and distraction. The longer you defer, the more reasons you find to delay again. Momentum dies silently, replaced by inertia and excuses. The mind cannot grow without decisive action. Thoughts alone do not create reality. Planning, learning, and preparation are worthless if they are never acted upon. Decision converts thought into motion. Action feeds the subconscious with evidence that you are capable. Each completed step reinforces identity, builds confidence, and generates further momentum. Waiting gives the mind no feedback, no reinforcement, no proof that progress is possible. Every successful person understands this principle intuitively. They move quickly when clarity appears, even if certainty is incomplete. They accept that mistakes are part of momentum because action generates results that waiting never can. Momentum itself is the teacher. Each decision compounds into the next. The flow of results builds clarity, focus, and opportunity. Waiting teaches nothing but how to delay, how to hesitate, and how to doubt yourself. Decision also protects your mind from distraction. When you choose a path and commit fully, uncertainty no longer occupies mental space. You are not wasting energy on what-ifs or hypothetical outcomes. Focus and direction emerge naturally. Momentum thrives in clarity, and clarity is born from decisive action. Waiting fragments attention. It allows outside noise, opinions, and fear to seep in and sap strength. Each pause increases vulnerability to distraction, making eventual action harder and more tentative. Momentum is exponential. One small, courageous decision triggers a cascade of outcomes. The first step may be uncertain, the next step EA, seer, and the third step unstoppable. Waiting, however, is linear decay. Time slips away, opportunities diminish, and the mind becomes complacent. Inertia is seductive, but it is also deadly. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail often comes down to one principle: decision versus delay. Understand this: waiting never produces clarity. The perfect moment is a myth, and hesitation only guarantees that life passes you by. Decision is the engine of progress. It signals to your subconscious that you are capable, and it signals to the world that you are in control. Momentum generated by decision is self-reinforcing. Once it begins, it accelerates. Waiting generates nothing but doubt, anxiety, and decay. If you want to dominate your life, create unstoppable momentum, and turn potential into reality, you must act decisively now. Stop rationalizing delay. Stop seeking permission. Stop waiting for certainty that will never come. Make your choice, commit fully, and let action carry you forward. Momentum builds confidence. Momentum opens doors. Momentum transforms possibility into achievement. Waiting does the opposite. It erodes courage, kills initiative, and leaves dreams to rot. Decision creates momentum. Waiting creates decay. Choose now. Move now. Build unstoppable force with your actions, because life does not pause for hesitation. Inner authority must come before outer success, because the world cannot recognize the power you do not first claim within yourself. No promotion, no recognition, no achievement will ever fulfill you if your own mind refuses to obey your commands. Authority is not handed out. It is earned internally before it is reflected externally. Confidence, discipline, decisiveness, these are not optional traits you acquire along the way. They are the foundation. Without them, success becomes fragile, fleeting, and hollow. The strongest empires are built on minds that do not wait for permission. Inner authority is the engine. Outer success is simply the visible result. Most people chase results before they build authority, and this is why so many fail. They seek approval, titles, recognition, and wealth, thinking these external markers will prove their worth. They believe that confidence will come when someone acknowledges them, that control will come when circumstances align. They are wrong. External success without internal command is like building a house on sand. It may stand for a while, but the first storm will shake it, and the structure will crumble. Authority begins inside, and every decision, every habit, every thought must reinforce it before it ever shows outwardly. Your mind is your kingdom. It must bow to your will first, because nothing outside will respect a mind that is fractured, inconsistent, or submissive. If you allow doubt, fear, and indecision to rule internally, outer success will always be partial and temporary. You may achieve a title, a project, or a win, but the moment challenges arise, you will falter. Inner authority teaches you to persist, to remain unshaken, and to act decisively even when the world pushes back. It is the invisible force that ensures that any success you claim can be sustained, expanded, and defended. Authority is cultivated through mastery of self. Self-discipline, focus, and deliberate action are not just habits. They are declarations to your subconscious that you are in command. When you honor your commitments to yourself, your mind begins to trust you. It begins to act decisively on your behalf, aligning thoughts, emotions, and instincts toward your goals. This alignment is inner authority. Without it, even the most brilliant strategies, plans, or opportunities will fail because your mind is divided, uncertain, and reactive rather than proactive. Waiting for validation from others is surrender. Outer success is meaningless if it relies on external permission. The world will never fully endorse your potential unless you first enforce it. Every step toward internal command strengthens resilience, sharpens clarity, and creates unshakable confidence. This is why the truly powerful rarely seek approval. They create it, they demand it, starting with themselves. Inner authority does not need applause, it needs alignment. Once that alignment is complete, the world cannot ignore you. Challenges are inevitable. Pressure will come. Criticism will come. Obstacles will appear where none were expected. Without inner authority, these forces will dominate you, causing hesitation, doubt, and panic. With inner authority, these forces become information, feedback, and momentum. The world tests everyone who reaches for success, but those with inner command bend circumstances to their will. They move through resistance with clarity because the foundation is not fragile. It is internal, unshakable, and self-proven. Do not confuse external success with authority. Success without internal mastery is a mask. It may fool others temporarily, but it cannot fool your own mind. You will always feel incomplete, always searching, always questioning. Inner authority is the backbone of confidence. It transforms your presence, your energy, and your decision-making. People sense it. Opportunities respond to it. Results align with it. This is why the most influential leaders, creators, and achievers all radiate an invisible power. They built it inside first. Building inner authority requires ruthless honesty. You must confront your fears, your weaknesses, and your excuses without compromise. You must enforce discipline in private, honor your commitments when no one is watching, and hold yourself accountable for every decision. This is not easy, it is not comfortable, but it is non-negotiable. External success is temporary and superficial if you neglect this step. Authority begins internally and radiates outward, turning ambition into results, chaos into clarity, and potential into dominance. The mind obeys the strongest voice it hears, and until that voice is yours, outer success will remain fragmented. Inner authority ensures that you do not compromise under pressure, that you do not falter when fear appears, and that every action you take is aligned with your long-term vision. Without it, external wins are fleeting. With it, external victories are inevitable. You will move with certainty, act with confidence, and navigate obstacles with clarity because your foundation is absolute. Opportunities will always test your inner command before they reward your effort. When you face rejection, setbacks, or failure, inner authority is the force that keeps you moving. Without it, you crumble. With it, you become unstoppable. It does not matter how big your dreams are or how capable you are. If your mind does not follow your command, the world will exploit hesitation, doubt, and fear. Authority must be established internally first, or everything else is a house built on sand. Inner authority must come before outer success. Build it. Enforce it, honor it relentlessly. Once it is complete, the world cannot resist alignment. Everything else, wealth, recognition, influence, becomes inevitable. Success is not given, It is the reflection of the power you already wield within. Persistence rewires destiny through disciplined thought, because the mind, when trained relentlessly over time, begins to accept what once seemed impossible as inevitable. Destiny is not something handed down by fate, chance, or luck. It is forged in the mind first, and then in action. Every thought you entertain, every decision you make, and every moment you refuse to quit shapes the neural pathways that govern your identity, your focus, and your capability. Persistence is not mindless repetition. It is intentional, disciplined thought made manifest through relentless action. It is the force that transforms potential into reality. Most people give up long before the breakthrough arrives. They believe success is linear, that effort should yield instant results, and that obstacles are warnings to retreat. They are wrong. The mind learns gradually. Discipline rewires perception, shapes responses, and programs habits that eventually dictate outcomes. Persistence creates the environment for this transformation. The thoughts you repeat, the focus you maintain, and the refusal to surrender even when results are delayed all accumulate inside the mind, building a foundation that supports unstoppable action. Every time you face resistance and push forward, you are signaling to your subconscious that quitting is not an option. The brain begins to rewire itself to accommodate resilience, to interpret challenges as surmountable, to locate solutions even in chaos. Habits, skills, and strengths that once felt out of reach are suddenly within grasp, because your mind has been trained to expect success and to refuse compromise. Persistence is not passive endurance. It is active shaping of the mental framework that will drive reality to align with your vision. Without disciplined thought, effort dissipates. Random action yields random results. The untrained mind panics, doubts, and surrenders at the first hint of difficulty. But when persistence is combined with intentional thinking, planning, analyzing, and learning from each failure, every setback becomes a lesson, every delay becomes an opportunity, and every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Destiny is not the work of chance. It is the inevitable byproduct of repeated, focused, and intelligent action over time. Persistence is also the ultimate test of identity. The moment you decide to persist when the world pushes back, your subconscious begins to rewrite who you believe you are. You are no longer someone who gives up. You are someone who overcomes. You are no longer defined by fear or circumstance, but by relentless commitment. Discipline in thought ensures that this identity is not fleeting. It makes persistence habitual, turning resistance into routine and struggle into growth. Most failures are mental, not external. People surrender internally before the world ever challenges them externally. They let fear, doubt, and distraction dictate their actions. Persistent, disciplined thought refuses this betrayal. It trains the mind to remain focused, to process obstacles logically rather than emotionally, and to move forward regardless of temporary discomfort. Persistence rewires the neural pathways of the brain so that success is no longer an aspiration. It becomes a default state of being. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is persistence. Small, disciplined actions repeated over time accumulate into monumental results. This is not theory. It is the law of mental cause and effect. The brain responds to repeated patterns. When you persist in thought and action, you create a structure that is self-reinforcing. Doubt loses its grip. Motivation becomes irrelevant because momentum takes over. Your destiny begins to bend toward you because you have trained your mind to refuse compromise. Persistence also cultivates clarity. The mind, when consistently focused on deliberate action, begins to detect opportunities, anticipate challenges, and identify solutions that others overlook. What once seemed complex becomes simple because the subconscious is aligned with the goal. Disciplined thought acts like a compass, keeping persistent action on track and preventing wasted energy on trivialities. Each repetition reinforces understanding, skill, and intuition, making your eventual victory almost inevitable. The process is cumulative. Every decision to continue, every choice to remain disciplined, every mental rehearsal of success strengthens the connection between intention and result. Destiny is not a static target. It is a living process shaped by what you feed into your mind and reinforce through action. Persistent thought is the tool that chisels the raw mat. Aerial of potential into the solid structure of achievement. Without it, effort is scattered. With it, the impossible becomes routine. Challenges will always test you. Discomfort, setbacks, failure, and criticism are unavoidable. But persistence in disciplined thought transforms these tests into catalysts. Every obstacle encountered and overcome reinforces